Hello, hello. All right, this video is to go over the basics that we need to know for narrative and specifically narrative conflict. All right, so we should already know a narrative is just to say connected events or a story. Transition words are those things that connect it. So then, after, first, before, right? All those kinds of words are what we use when we're developing a story or telling someone something that happened, right? So that they can follow the connected events. So things like the exposition of a story, which we'll talk about in a little bit, a beginning of the story, right, includes that who, what, when, where, right? That's kind of our opening of who are the characters, what are they doing, when is it? Is it historical? Is it in the future, right? Where is it happening? All the things about the setting, but really the why, right? The whole story we're telling the story is because there is some kind of conflict. So every narrative has a conflict, has some kind of issue. So to look at that, there are 6 different types of conflict, and I've shown them here. I have put my Bitmoji through the rigor. All right, so starting up here in the left-hand corner is our only type of internal conflict. Internal, inside themselves. So it's person versus themself, inside their head, right? Internal conflict meaning inside. So it is person versus self is like the angel devil on your shoulder. All right. If you have ever seen The Emperor's New Groove, right? Where he's like, should I kill him? Should I follow him? He has a good idea, right? Or if I'm deciding, should I have pizza or a salad for dinner, right? One side, the other side, but it's something internal, something me trying to decide inside my own head, deciding between 2 options inside. So if it is a character thinking inside their own head about what they should do between 2 options, person versus self. Little different than the rest of these are external. External conflict, meaning happening outside of them. They exit external outside of them. So we have person versus person. You can see my poor Bitmoji here being attacked by my friend's Bitmoji, right? So person versus person is one character, right, interacting with another character. Now, this doesn't have to be physical, right? This could be things like bullying, yelling at them, screaming at them, but it has to do with they are in conflict. They have an issue with another character, in the story. So if it is another living, breathing person or character that they're interacting with, then that is a person versus person. Then we come into the middle with person versus nature. All right, this is also sometimes called person versus environment. All right, but things like my picture here of a tornado, landslides, tsunamis, right? All of these things could be in nature as well as includes things like animals, right? Pets, wild boars running around, right? Whatever that might be, animals do include in nature and in the environment. So any of those things about like survival or having to be, to run away from an animal, those things are your character versus nature versus the environment. Then at the bottom, we have person versus technology. Now, I happen to like some sci-fi films, right? Some futuristic films. So, of course, I have my Bitmoji being attacked by a fire robot there, right? But it doesn't have to be something as like science fiction as a robot, right? Of like AI taking over and trying to control the world. It could be simply someone trying to understand how to work their phone or their computer, right? Or having issues trying to log on to your school site, right? Those things also count as technology. So anytime where a person is clashing with technology, any type of technology from robots to just basic computers in any form. Then we're going to keep on scrolling over to the far right corner here with person versus society. Person versus society. So this is where you're thinking of like peer pressure, bullying, things where a whole big group either like pressures that we think societal expectations, right? The outside world expects of us contradicts or differs with what your character wants, right? Or someone is pushing, pressuring them to be different than how they want to be. A good example here is things like in this picture, right? It looks like all of the females have longer hair, right? But my Bitmoji has short hair. So be peer pressure of like, you should grow your hair out. Girls shouldn't have long hair, right? That would be a conflict of what society, a group tells the character to act like versus what they don't want to be like. A good example of this is Disney's Mulan, if you want like a Disney example. And then our last one up in the corner here is person versus fate. Sometimes this is described as like person versus destiny. So this is something where they are unavoidable. You can't escape your fate or time, right? So things like growing older, getting closer to death, or like moving, going off to school, things starting right before you're ready for that change. All of that falls under person versus fate or person versus destiny. Ultimately, your character is trying to avoid something that they can't, right? They're just like, nah, you say that there's this destiny, this whole myth about me. No, that's not me. I'm going to go over here, right? Or if they're saying, I'm in denial. I'm not going to think about the fact that I'm moving. And it's like, sorry, that moving day is coming. You can't avoid it, right? That is person versus fate or person versus destiny. So there you go, my poor Bitmoji. But those are the 6 different types of conflict to consider when developing your own narrative.